Welcome back to Squawk Box. The trial of THERANOS founder Elizabeth Holmes reaching now a halfway point. Scott Cohn joins us with the latest on this ongoing saga. Scott.
Hi, Andrew. Today we wrap up week 6 in what is supposed to be a 13-week trial as the government tries to prove that when Elizabeth Holmes was promising to change the world, build as the next Steve Jobs, she was actually running a massive fraud. And this, prosecutors say, is one example. In 2014, when she was coming into her own as the darling of Wall Street in Silicon Valley, touting her new blood testing technology that was supposed to revolutionize healthcare, the person running the lab where all of those tests were to be processed was not a board-certified lab technician, but a dermatologist working part-time. His name is Sunil Dhawan. He took the stand for the government yesterday. He'll be back later this morning. He was actually Sunny Balwani's dermatologist. That's the former Theranos president and Holmes' ex-boyfriend. Dhawan testified that when Balwani recruited him in 2014, he promised a very minimal time commitment, though that would change the next year when regulators started asking questions. But he also testified he had very little contact with Holmes herself. Holmes' attorneys say she wasn't involved in lab operations at that point. All she did was run a business that failed, and as they say, failure is not a crime. This week, we've also heard from former executives at Safeway and Walgreens, both of which spent hundreds of millions of dollars in hopes of having Theranos testing in their stores. Prosecutors say those companies, along with doctors, patients who got erroneous test results, and many more, are among Elizabeth Holmes' many victims as this trial continues, guys.
So, Scott, you and I have sat in many courtrooms, sometimes together, watching these cases in real time. Is there a sense that you have at this point, and I know it's almost unfair to prejudge the outcome, but can you feel a sense of which way this is moving, and is the evidence that the prosecutors are offering compelling? Is the evidence that the defense is offering compelling?
Well, the defense's role at this point is to try and pick apart all of that evidence that the prosecution is offering, and the prosecution isn't through their case. So it's hard to tell exactly how it's going. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how the defense counters all of this. They've already given the hints of this in their opening statements 6 weeks ago, talking about how, as I said, failure is not a crime, and that really all Elizabeth Holmes was doing was what's typical in Silicon Valley, touting this new technology, bringing in money, and so on, but was not dishonest to investors, and that's what the prosecution has to prove. They have to prove that she intended to commit fraud. That's a pretty high bar, and we'll see how it goes.
Scott,
again,
that's what I was
about
ask
the halfway mark.
Of the evidence you've seen thus far, is there demonstrable evidence of what you would describe as intent? Intent to lie, intent to defraud, intent to do something knowingly wrong?
I think the jury, so to speak, is still out on this. I mean, that's what the government, again, is trying to prove. They're trying to show that she was very much involved with things, that she knew what was going on, that she and Sunny Balwani were kind of together as the people who were running this company, and that she would have known. Now, this testimony yesterday and today from the dermatologist in some ways runs counter to that, because he's testified that he had almost no contact with Holmes until towards the end, when the heat started coming in from regulators. But the idea is that she is out there telling everybody, telling investors, telling journalists and everyone else what a great and revolutionary company this is, when she knows, or should know, that the company is not what she claims it to be, and that by that point in 2014, 2015, it was pretty clear that this technology was not working, even though she said otherwise.